Imagine this: World War II is ending. The world is taking a breath, but behind the scenes, a new, silent war is just beginning. This is the story of Operation Paperclip, a secret mission that would shape the future of technology and space exploration, but at a staggering ethical cost. As Allied forces swept through Germany, special intelligence units followed close behind. Their mission? To grab every piece of German military, scientific, and technological research they could find. They were part of groups like the Combined Intelligence Objectives Subcommittee, or CIOS. They confiscated documents, seized materials, and interrogated scientists, racing against the clock and against their new rival, the Soviet Union. One of the most crucial discoveries wasn't found in a high-tech lab or a secret bunker. It was found in a toilet at Bonn University. This was the Ozenberg list, a comprehensive catalogue of scientists and engineers who had worked for the Third Reich. This list became the foundation for a top-secret program, initially called Operation Overcast, but later known by its more famous name, Operation Paperclip. The plan was simple yet audacious: bring Germany's brightest minds to America. Roughly 1,600 German scientists, along with their families, were secretly relocated to the United States. They weren't treated as prisoners of war. They were given new lives and new jobs, all to work for America during the escalating Cold War. The newly formed Joint Intelligence Objectives Agency, or JIOA, ran the show. Their goal was twofold. First, to leverage this German intellectual firepower to develop America's own arsenal of rockets and even biological and chemical weapons. Second, and just as important, was to prevent these brilliant minds from falling into Soviet hands. The race for global dominance was on, and brainpower was the new battlefield. But there was a huge moral problem. Many of these scientists weren't just academics. They were deeply entangled with the Nazi regime. President Harry Truman knew this. He officially approved the operation, but gave a strict order: do not recruit any known Nazi Party members or active supporters. This directive was clear. It was also completely ignored. Officials at the GIOA and the Office of Strategic Services, the precursor to the CIA, saw a dilemma. They believed the intelligence these scientists possessed was absolutely vital to America's post-war security. So they made a controversial choice. They decided to bypass the president's orders. They went to work sanitizing the records of their top targets, scrubbing away incriminating evidence of Nazi affiliations and potential war crimes. They effectively whitewashed history, all in the name of national security. Among the hundreds of scientists brought over, one name stands out above all others: Wernher von Braun, as the technical director at the Peenemünde Army Research Center. Von Braun was the genius behind the V-2 rocket. This was the terrifying weapon that rained destruction down on cities like London and Antwerp during the war. It was a marvel of engineering and an instrument of terror. After the war, von Braun and his team of rocket experts were taken to Fort Bliss, Texas, and the White Sands Proving Grounds in New Mexico. They were given the benign title of War Department Special Employees. Their new job was to help the U.S. Army build even more powerful rockets. The very man who had built weapons to attack the Allies was now a key asset in America's military-industrial complex, and his influence didn't stop there. Wernher von Braun is the director of NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center. He was the chief architect of the mighty Saturn V launch vehicle, the most powerful rocket ever built. It was this rocket, designed under the leadership of a former Nazi scientist, that carried American astronauts to the moon, fulfilling one of humanity's oldest dreams. The legacy of Operation Paperclip is incredibly complex and deeply divisive. On one hand, supporters argue that it was a pragmatic, even necessary, move. They claim that if these scientists had ended up in the Soviet Union, the entire balance of power during the Cold War could have shifted dramatically. America's technological and military supremacy, they say, was built on the foundation laid by these German experts. The moon landing, GPS, and countless other technological advancements can trace their roots back to this controversial program. But on the other hand, the ethical cost is impossible to ignore. Opponents point to the moral bankruptcy of overlooking the scientists' pasts. These were made in many cases willingly so. They had used their genius to create weapons of war, sometimes relying on the forced labor of concentration camp prisoners. By bringing them to America and giving them prestigious positions, the U.S. government effectively granted them immunity. There was no accountability, no trial, no punishment for their complicity in unspeakable atrocities. So, how do we judge Operation Paperclip? Was it a stroke of strategic genius that secured America's future? Or was it a deal with the devil that sacrificed justice for power? The truth, as it often is, lies somewhere in the murky gray area in between. It serves as a stark reminder that the pursuit of progress and security can sometimes lead us down morally treacherous paths. The story forces us to ask uncomfortable questions. Does the end justify the means? And what price is too high to pay for victory? The shadow of Operation Paperclip stretches long, touching everything from the stars we reached to the weapons we built. It's a hidden chapter of our history that challenges our understanding of good and evil, and heroism and villainy. A story of brilliant minds and the dark choices that brought their brilliance into the light. Thank you so much for watching. This is a complex piece of history, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about Operation Paperclip? If you found this story fascinating, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden corners of history. We'll see you in the next one.